Hello, GH fans, grab your snacks, silence that group chat because Port Charles is about to feel like a pressure cooker with the lid welded shut. We're talking secret prisons, mystery voices from the dead, forbidden baby drama, and a legal nightmare that could blow apart more than one family before Christmas hits. If you thought things were already messy, just wait until Devane starts piecing together her own kidnapping case from inside a locked room with a voice that sounds a whole lot like Cesar Faison whispering in her ear. At the same time, over in the land of romantic disasters, Nina Reeves is about to literally see the scandal she's been circling around, and it involves Portia, Isaiah, and a baby that may not belong to the man already planning his future as a dad. Because of course Portia's next chapter in life comes with yet another paternity question mark hanging over it. And when Nina has her front row seat to that mess, you know the fallout could hit Curtis right in the heart. Meanwhile, the law and order side of town is just as twisted. Drew Kane is about to get a helpful offer that might finally expose who actually shot him, but GH fans, you know better than to trust any convenient alliance in Port Charles. There's an ADA setting traps, a convicted man trying to prove he was framed, and the shadow of Jenz Sidwell's blackmail plot hanging over Sonny, Jason, Willow, and basically half the canvas. Add in Willow's looming courtroom showdown and the threat of a pre-Christmas verdict, and it feels like the justice system is another weapon, not a solution. And because GH can never resist tossing gasoline on a fire, the show is dangling one more question in front of us: is Esme Prince really dead? After that dream sequence with Laura and Cyrus, and Avery Kristen Pohl herself teasing that no body means no death, the Esme horror stories might not be over at all. If she resurfaces while Spencer's future is being reshaped off-screen, it could rewrite entire storylines in one swoop. So buckle up, GH fans. Between Anna's captivity mystery, Portia's baby bombshell, Drew's shooter truth, Sonny's war with Sidwell, and the ghost of Esme possibly lurking just offstage, these next 2 weeks feel less like a normal soap stretch and more like a season finale rolled into one. Let's break it all down. Full breakdown of current spoilers, deep dive analysis. Let's start with Devane, because our legendary super spy is in one of the darkest situations she's seen in years, and that's saying something for a woman who survived Faison, double agents, and more kidnappings than anyone can count. Anna was ambushed in her car, chloroformed, and woke up in a cramped, depressing little prison cell. No windows, no exits, no friendly faces, just restraints and a disembodied voice over a speaker that sounds terrifyingly like Cesar Faison. She's told she's on her way to a brand new life, but right now that new life looks a lot like solitary confinement. Anna, being Anna, isn't just lying there waiting for a rescue. She's shown with a pencil and notepad, which is very on brand. This is a woman who turns anything into a weapon or a clue. She may be jotting down details about the room, timing, footsteps, phrases the captors use, anything that could reveal who's behind this. There might also be someone assigned to take care of her, a guard, a nurse, some handler type, and if so, you know she'll try to manipulate them, appeal to their conscience, or get them to slip up. It wouldn't be shocking if she tries to send a message out the door, hoping it somehow winds up in the hands of Dante, Valentin, or even Laura. The whole Faison angle adds another layer. Jason already floated the idea that someone could use AI to mimic Faison's voice, and that's exactly the kind of psychological warfare you'd use against Anna. She knows Faison is supposed to be dead, but she also knows in Soapland you never say never. She's stuck trying to decide, is someone using her worst nightmare as a weapon, or did one of the darkest chapters of her life not end when she thought it did? And while she's debating that, everyone back home assumes she's off on some classified WSB mission. No one is looking for her. That's the scariest part. On the outside, Dante and Nathan will start stumbling across clues that something about Anna's disappearance isn't adding up. There may be strange loose ends, inconsistencies in the mission cover story, or tech breadcrumbs that point to her being held, not deployed. Their investigation could be the only thread connecting Anna's prison to the real world. If they begin to question the WSB narrative, the clock unofficially starts on Anna's rescue effort, assuming they're not chasing the wrong enemy entirely. Now, over in the romantic disaster department, we've got Portia Robinson, Isaiah Gannon, Curtis Ashford, and Nina Reeves walking right into a brand new paternity mess. We already know Portia accidentally spilled that she's pregnant during a heated confrontation with Nina at the Brown Dog Bar, because nothing says calm, rational conversation like airing your secrets in a bar showdown. Portia is already overwhelmed, and spoilers say she may lean on Isaiah for comfort. That emotional dependence could very easily turn into something physical, a hug that lingers, a kiss that crosses a line, a full make-out session, and of course that's exactly when Nina spots them. Nina catching them in a private moment is classic GH. She sees something she's not supposed to see, and suddenly the math changes. If Portia is pregnant and also involved with Isaiah, then there's a real question about who the father is. Curtis, who's already been through the ringer with Portia's past lies about Trina's paternity, may be assuming this baby is his miracle second chance. Nina, who genuinely does care about Curtis and knows how powerful a parent's love can be, is stuck with a moral dilemma: keep Portia's secret or blow this wide open. And Portia, who is very familiar with the bury the truth and hope it never surfaces strategy, will probably beg Nina to keep quiet. At the same time, Nina's own life has been rebuilt recently. Curtis exposed the truth about her and Drew right before Willow's first wedding to Drew, which detonated Nina's relationship with Willow. But Nina was already planning to confess. Curtis just sped up the explosion. Now that Nina and Willow are finally on the road to healing, Nina is painfully aware of what secrets can do to a parent-child bond. She doesn't want Curtis bonding with a baby who may not be his, only to have that hope ripped away. So her eyes on Portia and Isaiah aren't just judgment, they're a warning sign that she might decide Curtis deserves the truth, no matter how ugly it is. In the legal and crime corner of Port Charles, things are just as intense. ADA Justine Turner is putting a plan in motion to trap Valentin Cassadine, who's on the run and considered dangerous by both the PCPD and the WSB. They're all worried he might go after Charlotte, and there's a decent chance Justine uses that fear against him. One possibility is that Charlotte gets pulled into some kind of sting. Maybe she's tied to the lab break-in fallout, maybe she's used as bait to force Valentin to surface. Either way, someone is getting arrested, and the moral lines between justice and manipulation are getting thin. Carly is playing with fire as she gets dragged into all this Valentin fugitive chaos. Whenever Carly decides to insert herself in a high-stakes chase, things tend to spiral. She's not wired to sit quietly while danger circles people she cares about, but that also means she makes impulsive, risky choices. On top of that, Alexis is putting Willow through mock trial practice, trying to prepare her for the real courtroom drama that's coming. Because yes, Willow's trial is looming, and GH is clearly setting up that verdict to land right before Christmas. Nothing says holiday spirit like the possibility of jail time. Over in mob territory, Sonny is neck-deep in blackmail thanks to Jenz Sidwell. Jason, who recently showed his softer side by tenderly taking care of a drunken Brit, is about to get the full story on Sidwell pulling Sonny's strings. Jason doesn't do well with anyone threatening the people he loves, especially when those threats are legal, clever, and hard to punch in the face. Expect Jason's anger to simmer as he starts plotting a way to neutralize Sidwell, and GH fans know that when Jason goes into quiet, focus mode, someone usually ends up in serious trouble. Drew, meanwhile, is circling his shooter mystery again. He took the fall and paid a massive price, but there's still the unanswered question of who actually pulled the trigger. Kai Taylor may come to him with an offer, a chance to finally get the truth and clear not only Drew's name emotionally, but also Portia and Curtis, who are caught in the crossfire of that case. The problem? Offers like that often come with hidden strings. If Kai is pretending to be on Drew's side while working another angle, Drew could walk right into a trap disguised as justice. We've also got some quieter emotional beats simmering. Brooklyn might make it her mission to thaw the ice between Dante and Gio before Christmas, trying to pull them into some version of family peace. But healing rifts like that takes time, and we may see both men struggling to forgive, trust, or even just be in the same room without tension. Michael is leaning more on Christina and bonding further with Jacinda, which adds another layer of family complexity as Willow's trial draws near. Every Corinthos Davis Quatermain connected character seems to be weaving into this legal web. And then there's Esme Prince, haunting the show even when she's dead. In Laura's dream, Esme shows up right after Cyrus to unload emotional pain and blame, which tells you exactly how much space she still occupies in Laura's mind and in the narrative. Avery Kristen Pohl's own comments about not believing Esme is truly gone, especially without a body, keep the door wide open. The image of Esme supposedly disappearing into the Seine is tragic, but in soap logic, it's also the perfect setup for a dramatic return. Pohl joking about Esme being in France or on a camel in Morocco is light-hearted, but fans hear the subtext: this chapter isn't closed forever. Character psychology, motives, and secret agendas. Let's dig into what everyone really wants here, because GH rarely runs on simple motivations. Starting with Anna, she's a master strategist who spent her entire life fighting monsters like Faison, Victor Cassadine, and corrupted agencies. Her biggest fear is losing control, and someone locking her in a room and taunting her with Faison's voice is the ultimate trigger. She's going to detach emotionally just enough to think clearly, catalog her surroundings, and work the problem like a spy puzzle. But under that cool exterior, there's trauma, guilt, and anger. If this is about Faison, or someone copying him, Anna will feel like her past is once again being used as a weapon against the people she loves. Her captor, or captors, clearly want her destabilized. Using AI to mimic Faison's voice would be a deliberate psychological attack meant to break her down slowly. Someone is either obsessed with her, trying to recruit her, or trying to extract something she knows. It's not just about removing her from the board, it's about torment. And that's why whoever is behind this feels more like a long-term villain than a one-off kidnapper. Nina's psychology is a whole different battlefield. She's a character who often thinks she's fixing things while actually pouring gasoline on smoldering secrets. She knows what it's like to have motherhood ripped away, to be kept from her child, and to carry regret for the things she's done out of desperation. So when she sees Portia and Isaiah in a compromising moment, she's not just a gossip who stumbled onto a scandal. She's a mother and a friend who doesn't want Curtis to live in a fantasy and then crash. The temptation to tell Curtis the truth will be strong, not just because Nina likes to intervene, but because she genuinely believes that secrets about children always explode, and sooner is better than later. Portia, on the other hand, is stuck in her own loop of needing control. Remember when she hid the truth about Trina's paternity for years? That pattern is back, just with a new twist. She wants to protect her family, keep her life from blowing up, and push the hardest truths as far away as possible. If she's leaning on Isaiah emotionally and physically, that connection might feel like a safe harbor, but it also makes the pregnancy situation even messier. Portia's instinct is to keep her world intact, even if that requires selective honesty. But GH fans know that once you start stacking lies, the crash is uglier. Curtis is craving a win. After fighting for his mobility, his marriage, and his relationship with Trina, the idea of a baby feels like a miracle. He wants to believe the universe is finally giving him something untainted. That's what makes this potential paternity twist so brutal from a character perspective. His joy and hope could be built on shaky ground, and when it comes to GH storytelling, that usually means the truth will be revealed in the most public, devastating way possible. Over on the crime and law side, Valentin is operating from primal fear and love. He's always been willing to burn down entire systems for Charlotte. If he thinks she's at risk, from the WSB, the PCPD, or anyone else, he'll go darker, faster. An ADA setting a trap using Charlotte or her legal trouble is playing with dynamite. Valentin's secret agenda is probably simple: get his daughter safe, no matter who has to fall in the process. The more he's cornered, the more dangerous he becomes. Sonny's pride is under direct attack from Jenz Sidwell's blackmail. Sonny can handle physical threats, rival mobsters, even the occasional federal raid. But a cerebral villain who uses leverage and legal exposure? That grinds on his sense of control. He hates feeling boxed in and dependent on someone else's terms. Jason's fury when he learns what Sidwell's doing is rooted in loyalty. He can't stand the idea of Sonny being played like a chess piece. Expect Jason to push for a solution that removes Sidwell from the board entirely, one way or another. Drew's secret agenda is a mix of justice and redemption. He doesn't want to just walk away from what happened to him, he wants the truth, the name, the why. If Kai offers to help, Drew will be tempted because he wants closure, but he's also not naive. He knows that in Port Charles, help often comes at a cost. Still, the idea of clearing Portia and Curtis in the shooting mess and finally closing that chapter might be too powerful to resist. Willow, as always, is torn between her need to be good and her growing backbone. Alexis coaching her is about preparing Willow not just legally, but emotionally, how to handle being attacked on the stand, how to hold her ground when her choices and loyalties are questioned. Willow's trial is about more than the law, it's about her claiming her voice after years of being tugged between other people's agendas, Nina's, Michael's, the Quartermain's, and even the system's. Then we come to Esme. Even presumed dead, she sits in the show's collective subconscious as a symbol of chaos. Her whole persona was built on manipulation, revenge, and twisted vulnerability. If she's alive, she could be recentered either as a full-on villain or a deeply damaged anti-hero. Avery Kristen Pohl talking about Esme like she's on vacation and insisting that no body means no death tells you everything about how unfinished that story feels. And if Spencer is ever recast, it's hard not to imagine Esme reappearing as part of his next chapter, especially where Trina is concerned. Now, let's talk about where this could all go, because the board is set for some serious shockers. Starting with Anna, her captivity arc could spin out in a few directions. One possibility is that Dante and Nathan follow some obscure clue, maybe digital traces of the AI voice, maybe financial breadcrumbs tied to a shell company, and realize Anna never left on any official WSB assignment. They could discover that the organization they thought they were working with has been compromised, leading to a bigger conspiracy. The use of Faison's voice could point to a Faison-obsessed copycat, a rogue WSB faction, or even someone tied to his past experiments. Anna's notes and attempts to reach the outside world could be the key. GH might show her slipping a coded message to a caretaker, scratching something into furniture, or using something as simple as light patterns or timing to signal where she is. Fans could see her slowly build an escape plan, only for it to fail at the last second, forcing a rescue storyline to converge with her own efforts. It's possible that by the time she gets out, she's not just surviving, she's hunting whoever dared weaponize Faison's memory against her. On the Portia, Isaiah, Curtis, Nina front, the future looks messy in the best soap way. Nina might sit on what she saw for a while, trying to convince herself it's not her business, but you know how that goes. The guilt will keep piling up. The more Curtis talks about the baby and the future, the heavier the secret will feel. GH could easily build to a reveal when Nina finally blurts out what she saw, maybe during a tense argument or a moment where Portia says something that hits too close to home. The possibility that Isaiah could be the father might explode right as Curtis is fully emotionally invested. We could see a paternity test storyline where results are delayed, altered, or weaponized. Maybe the truth doesn't come out cleanly. Maybe someone tamps with the results, or the first set is wrong, and the real answer hits later. And given Portia's history with Trina's paternity, GH might mirror that arc intentionally, only this time, Curtis is on the other side of the lie. Drew's shooter mystery has the potential to tie into the larger Sidwell plot. If Kai offers to help, he could either be genuinely trying to expose corruption or secretly working with someone higher up to control the narrative. The real shooter could be connected to Sidwell's circle, the WSB, or even a Cassadine offshoot. If Drew digs too deep, he might find that his case was never about him specifically, he was collateral damage in a much bigger operation. A reveal like that could fold him right back into the center of the Sidwell storyline, putting him in Sonny and Jason's orbit again. Willow's trial might not just be about guilt or innocence. It could be the pressure point where multiple secrets intersect. Nina's involvement in past schemes, Curtis' role in exposing her, the blackmail web around Sidwell, all of it could be hovering over the proceedings like a storm cloud. GH could easily do one of those classic soap days where everything happens at once, a surprise witness, a bombshell piece of evidence, someone bursting into the courtroom with new information. Willow's verdict before Christmas hints at a big emotional moment, either heartbreaking consequences or a last-minute save that leaves everyone shaken but free. Sonny and Sidwell's war is likely headed toward a showdown where legal leverage crashes into mob justice. Jason might quietly build a case against Sidwell, digging into his past, his funding, and his vulnerabilities. There could be an undercover operation, a staged betrayal, or a situation where someone, possibly Drew, possibly another cleaner character, pretends to flip on Sonny to smoke Sidwell out. If Sidwell is smart, he'll anticipate retaliation, which means GH has room for double crosses, staged blackmail, and traps layered within traps. And then there's Esme. The dream sequence with Laura and Cyrus could be more than a fun callback, it could be the show's way of reminding us that Esme's presence still hovers over the canvas. If Spencer is ever recast, Esme's return in the flesh would be the perfect way to pull him back into the story with immediate stakes. Imagine Esme showing up alive just as Trina is finally moving forward, maybe with someone like Gio or another new love interest, and claiming that she's changed, or worse, that she's been wronged. Fans can also imagine Esme resurfacing connected to some bigger villain. Maybe someone pulled her out of the scene and used her as a pawn. She could come back with hazy memories, new loyalties, or a mission that ties right into whatever's going on with Sidwell or the Anna kidnapping. It's all speculation right now, but GH made sure to have Avery Kristen Pohl say the quiet part out loud, "If there's not a body, you're not dead." That's practically a mission statement for future chaos. Final dramatic closer. So, GH fans, here's where we're left as the next 2 weeks roll in. Anna is trapped in a nightmare that may be powered by AI, old ghosts, or both. She's alone, calculating, and waiting for the smallest crack in the armor of whoever grabbed her. Dante and Nathan are out there, inching closer to the truth, but they don't yet know how high the stakes really are, or that Faison's shadow is back in the room, at least in Anna's mind. Portia's secret is ticking like a bomb. Nina's eyes have seen just enough to piece together a possible paternity twist, and her conscience won't let her sit comfortably in silence forever. Curtis is dreaming of a future that might rest on a lie. Isaiah's role in this baby drama is still evolving, and GH is clearly building toward another truth explosion that will rip through multiple families. In the courts and back rooms of Port Charles, Drew is inching closer to answers about his shooter, Willow is bracing for a trial that could redefine her life, and Sonny is cornered by a blackmailer who doesn't play by the usual mob rules. Jason's anger, Carly's risk-taking, Alexis' legal coaching, Brooklyn's attempts at family repair, all of it is weaving together into one big, messy tapestry that feels like it could rip at any moment. And looming over all of it is Esme, not physically, maybe not yet, but spiritually, psychologically, and narratively. Her name still makes people flinch. Her crimes still haunt people like Laura. And her portrayal hinting that she doesn't believe Esme is truly gone. That's GH's way of whispering to the audience, don't get too comfortable. So what do you think, GH fans? Is Anna dealing with a Faison-obsessed copycat, a rogue agency, or something even darker? Will Nina blow up Portia's baby secret and shatter Curtis' heart, or will she hold the line and let the lie grow? Is Drew's shooter connected to Sidwell's power games, and will Willow walk out of that courtroom free or devastated? And when Esme finally steps out of the shadows, because let's be honest, it feels like a when, not an if, whose life is she going to destroy first? Drop your wildest theories, your favorite suspects, and your dream twist endings, because this stretch of General Hospital isn't just another couple of weeks, it feels like the start of a whole new chapter of chaos. And you know we'll be right here breaking down every twist, every betrayal, and every jaw-drop moment with you.